and they're going to have the best line right here.
On the outside in the white is Josh Lewis from Guernsey. Also in this one is the local favourite, Ollie Turner from Jersey. So that Guernsey Channel Islands battle is going to take place in this one. Just a reminder, it is swim, bike, run. The top 5 go through to tomorrow's final, and we'll have semi-final B in just a second, and the top 5 from that, and then the next fastest times overall. And the pace is right on. Vasco Valassa from Portugal, who I think could be somewhat of a threat and be on the bubble in this one, is in the white. He's one of our youngest athletes and closest to the camera, in a great angle there. And on the other side, though, Lewis...
It looks like Igor Polyansky that is really pushing the pace there.
We're so used to seeing you off the front at the start of these races, Henry. It looks like Polyansky who's gone in front of Vincent Lewis.
I think he's going for that swim jersey.
Yes, that would make a lot of sense.
He's a fantastic swimmer. Sometimes the other legs let him down a little bit, but he'll want to pick up that 5 points for coming out of the water first, and he'll be wearing blue tomorrow if indeed he is the fastest of the 2 heats in the water. We'll keep an eye on that, but there's not a lot of room out there between about 7 or 8 athletes wide.
Yeah, we can see Martin van Riel. He's really trying to push forward there, but he's got athletes on his shoulders, and they're actually holding him back. So you can see that line of athletes. Igor Polyansky is well clear, gone, and I think it's Vincent Louis on the inside that might just get ahead of him around this point.
It must be hard for you watching this and knowing that by this stage you'd already be about 3 lengths in front.
Yeah, it's tough being on the sidelines, but yeah, I mean,
it looks horrible to me. Like, I'm very happy here.
Yeah, it's really cold outside. I was outside during the women's race, and I'm actually glad to be inside in a warm box.
It looks like Mario Mola up there in about 5th or 6th position, who's had a great start. If I can see with the red, with the Spanish flag, I'm just trying to spot that. But Vincent Lewis is always sitting off your shoulder. He just seems to move himself around. He does whatever he wants to do in the swim, and he would have seen Igor Polyansky roar off the front, going for that swimmer's jersey, and thought, there's my smooth run to transition.
Yeah, he's a very, very tactical swimmer, as Vincent Lewis always finds a way to do it as quickly and with as little energy expenditure as possible as they head around the second buoy.
That was Mislachok. I thought I saw that redness, and it was Tyler Mislachok who's sitting about 6th or 7th position. It wasn't Mario Mola.
Mislachok's really had a fantastic season this season. He's really found a way, I think, to get into that dark cave and find that extra 10%, and it's delivered him some fantastic results, including a win in the Tokyo Test event just a couple of weeks ago.
He just doesn't seem to like the cooler conditions. Tyler seems to thrive whenever the temperature turns up. I don't know why. He's from one of the coldest places in Canada, and he said to me yesterday that he trained as a kid in these cold conditions and hates it ever since.
Well, he's got about 1% body fat. That probably doesn't help him. You don't experience it back in the same way he does.
I love the cold conditions. It doesn't feel that cold here.
You're actually sweating lightly. I wish I could bring that to people visually. But at the front is Vincent Lewis, and he will lead out of the water, it looks like. At the moment, there's quite a spread over those athletes, probably 20 seconds. We'll head down to Joe right now. Talk us through it, Joe.
Okay, well, I've got Jodie Simpson down here with me, and it's Vincent Lewis and Polyansky. How do you think they're doing so far?
Yeah, good. Louis really going for this short shoot, so he's definitely up there. He's set himself up perfectly.
Yeah, and it looks like there's a couple of people getting left behind already. It's quite tough getting out of that water, isn't it?
Yeah, it definitely. I mean, these guys are doing a great job of getting them out, but it's quite slippery coming out of this water. So you need to try and get some grip if possible, and kind of use the volunteers, and then try as best as you can to get up this steep ramp, which the guys at the back are already struggling with.
Yeah, that horrible, horrible ramp. And back to you in the studio.
Thank you. Vasco Valassa is at the back there, along with Michael Arashida, but at the front, it is Vincent Lewis who takes the 5 points for the fastest swim split from Igor Polyansky, Tyler Mislachuk and his compatriot Matt Sharp there. So all of our contracted athletes towards the front of the field with Leo Bourgier as well. And it's important to get on this bike, especially with all of that.
It's interesting to see how some of the athletes are deciding to run around that U-turn before mounting their bike, and Vincent Louis was actually mounting it before that corner.
Well, he was off the front. He had that room to do it. It was Tyler Mislachok in second opted to run around and sort of caused some congestion. We saw Christian Blumenfeld just roar straight around that entire group. A couple of the French athletes got caught up in that.
Yeah, he's well out in the lead. He can really control the pace right now, pick his lines through the corners, and just be safe.
He does the little things right, Vincent Lewis. I was able to walk a course with him yesterday, and he was talking about the wind and the direction of the wind and the core flute, the hard barrier covers where he felt these cushion covers where the wind actually passes through. He found he could get blown around a bit, so he's looking at where he could hold his lines, especially as they come over this next section, as they come back onto the waterfront where we have Corfu.
And that's really, and we saw that with Alistair Brownlee taking us through a post walker last year, is that the best in the game look at the little 1%ers and really dial it in. And Henry, you'd be the same. You'd look at every single little thing and not look at the course of the hole, and you can see where this one has barriers that have sandbags and this one has pitch where it can push out from the wind, just little things.
Yeah, definitely. They've gone through this course a few times yesterday, checking out every detail of the course, checking out every bump, making sure that they know exact line that they're going to be taking. And Vincent Louis, he's really taking advantage of that. He's really just going for it, picking his lines really well, cornering really well, and he's actually gapping Tyler Misselchuk. So he's actually just really going for it right now.
If you were in this position, you've probably got 5 or 6 seconds at the front. Where do you think, how do you map your race out from here in terms of making sure you win, but also trying to conserve as much energy as possible for tomorrow?
Yeah, it's a decision that you have to make in the moment. Right now, he's got, I think, 6 athletes behind. So he maybe wants to just keep the pressure on just for a little bit. The guys behind are working just as hard to stay just where they are. I mean, and then you still get the snake effect with the guys behind. So he's actually in a really good position. He's comfortable. He's by himself. He knows he'll be safe.
Yeah, 2 Frenchmen at the front. Leo Berger heading that train. But as you say, the snake effect for people coming into a dead turn like that, it slows everything down.
Yeah, it definitely does. If you're sitting 3rd, 4th, 5th wheel, you're going to be working much harder than the guy in the front just to catch up that gap.
All right, you can see the splits there already, 30 seconds across that field.
Seems like he's got a bit of an issue with that left foot. He keeps trying to fiddle with it, maybe just tighten it, get comfortable. But he's got all the time in the world right now to do that.
He could probably stop, hop off the bike and just mount again and get it done the second time and still be in the lead. Such is the gap he's already pulled out. Our champion is 5 seconds ahead of Leo Berger. So the 2 Frenchmen, Igor Poliansky and Tyler Misselchuk, in 3rd and 4th ahead of Matt Sharp. Sylvain Friedelance is there. Ollie Turner is there as well. So a good start from Ollie Turner ahead of Martin Van Riel and Mario Mola and Christian Blumenfeld. So he's put himself in there with a good shout, Turner, if he can hang in this bike. You can see that there, though, how much everybody has to slow down coming into this one.
Yeah, they're on the brakes there. That concertina effect happens, especially into this left-hand turn. It's Christian Blumenfeld who drifts back a little bit. He doesn't like that stopping and starting, and that extra weight he carries as a bigger athlete makes it harder through those corners.
At the back of the field, Pierre Lecour, Michael Arashida and Josh Lewis down 33 seconds back. He's going to have to work hard because Vincent Lewis is really turning up the pace at the front. There is no doubt about that. He's not giving an inch just at the moment, and he'll look to continue to build this lead, and then he can measure his efforts throughout the rest of this race. And Misselchuk knows that, so he's overtaken Berger, and he's really trying to put it down.
Yeah, it looks like he's really trying to put some pressure on the guys at the back, maybe form a group of 2 or 3. I think that'll be quite ideal for him to join up with Lewis.
Well, you're one of the only guys who's been in this position that Vincent's been in. You're off the front, you've usually got a group chasing. What's going through your head? Have you got those calm lines? Do you know what's happening behind? Are you aware of that group? Is the information coming to you, or are you just sort of focusing on what you're doing and just staying upright?
It's more like just focusing on what you're doing. I mean, you're just going for it. Let the race happen behind you. I mean, everyone's working at the same effort, and if you can stay out in front 10 seconds ahead, I mean, why not?
And you sort of have a glance here when you get those opportunities to see where everyone is off the roundabout or in these dead sections. So you're aware of where everyone is, and you just sort of monitor that.
Yeah, he just had a look over his right shoulder, and you could see exactly where they are. He could also see that there's quite a big group, so it's actually not great to be in that group right now. You don't want an athlete making a mistake in front of you, and you don't want to be involved in that crash. And yeah, it just gives you some breathing space out front.
One of the most aggressive I've seen Tyler Misselchuk is usually he likes to sit.
Misselchuk's back here.
Oh, okay, that's Matty Sharp up front.
It's actually Sylvain Friedelance wearing the Swiss flag.
Okay, I was going to say Tyler tends to sit back a little bit more and use that big run, and it's Friedelance who wants to close the gap to one of his good friends.
It is indeed. Yep, Sylvain Friedelance. Partner of Cassandra Bograd. He just will have watched his girlfriend do the job, and now he's out there in second position. There is Velasa ahead of Misselchuk and Blumenfeld, who we usually see make more of a dent in the in the bike, but again, it's a little bit like Jeff Code in that it's a little bit more of a technical course now.
Yeah.
And he doesn't have the chance to really do what he does and put down the power as much.
He sort of uses that power, and I find with Christian, we watched that 2 years ago when he was really aggressive here in that super pound-for-pound race, was the quickest one we ever had against Johnny Brownlee and Richard Murray. He struggled in and out of those turns. He sort of hits the brakes very late. He doesn't ride those rails like Henry does or Vincent Louis does as they come off those corners. He tends to be more aggressive, and his acceleration's just not there.
Big ups to Ollie Turner. He's sitting nice and comfortable in that group. I think he should be really happy with his position and thinking about a really fast run and be in touch with the guys after that second swim.
Well, they're going to love him as he comes through town. Ollie Turner, he's the crowd favourite. He lives here in Jersey, and you know, he qualified for the series last year here in Jersey, which was huge for him.
He trains actually in Cardiff at the moment with Josh Lewis alongside him. The two of them pretty evenly matched, Jersey and Guernsey. Finished 24th and 26th in the Commonwealth Games, both on the podium in the Island Games, and there's been a lot of head-to-head chat between those two at the moment. Turner.
Was that Tyler Misselchuk just drifting off the back of that group around that roundabout?
I think you might be right. He is at the back of that group. There's
Wow.
You can see there 14 seconds back behind Blumenfeld.
I wonder if it's just a cold or if he maybe has like a puncture or an issue with his bike.
We're going to look now. We get this opportunity. He's definitely off the back of Christian
now.
Blumenfeld, and Christian's dropped back too as well.
Christian's at the back.
And there's
doesn't
Tyler
look like
right there.
Flat or anything much. I'm not
definitely
sure
not a
what it
flat
is.
tyre. He's not liking these cooler conditions. He was one of the people out there yesterday when it was teeming down rain, praying for no rain today. He got the no rain, but the temperature hasn't risen that much, about 17, 18 degrees ambient air temperature, and it's not something that Tyler was rejoicing.
No, I think in the second swim, I think it was last year, he was about 35 seconds down on his first swim time. But as Vincent Lewis comes into transition, we'll head down to Joe Anthea.
Yes, Jodie, from where we're standing, Vincent Lewis here, he just seems so relaxed, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's done this perfect. He could take all the course, all the lines that he wanted to take. And now he's got time to take his transition. And he's done it again. He's away. He's doing this perfectly.
And now such a big group of the rest of them fighting for those positions. How tense does that make things, especially in transition?
It's absolutely carnage. You need to try and get to your position. You've got people coming in and out. It's absolute carnage, and you need to get in and out as quick as possible.
A very eventful race already. Back to you.
Ollie Turner, second out of transition.
Absolutely right. He's got the crowd right behind him. I was looking at everyone racking their bikes. Everyone went in back first on their bikes, except for Tyler Misselchuk. He is under the pump.
Yeah, he's definitely under pressure.
There he is. He's going to need to rely on that run, but he's racked his bike the normal way, and that's going to cost him later.
It'll be interesting to see what Vincent Lewis decides to do from this point. If he's just going to keep hammering on and just, you know, stay out in front the whole race, or if he might just wait for one or two stronger swimmers from the group behind him to catch up.
I guess my question to you, in terms of the fact that you spend more time, you know, you're the one that's in the athlete locker room, you're the one who's amongst the group. If Vince decides to put the hammer down and he ends up running a minute faster than anybody else, for example, hypothetically, in his time when we put them both together, does that get in people's heads? If he's 30 seconds quicker than everyone else in the combined times, does everyone look at that and go, oh, gee, there's no way we're going to get him?
Yeah, you just go back to the drawing board and think, where can I improve?
Yeah.
How can I beat him?
But would he be thinking that I'm going to destroy everyone now because it's going to be a mental game for everyone else, or does he back off and let everyone come to him?
Absolutely. He's definitely planting a little seed in everyone's minds that he's in great shape, he's in great form. He's showing them how to race right now. So, yeah, it's...
He's hating this, aren't you?
Yeah,
are you hating this? You're too polite to say it, but this is your rival.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's just running so smooth. He's in a nice stride. Even though that the run course is so technical, it's constantly accelerating, decelerating, and he's just motoring. He's actually just going for it right now. Blumenfeld is coming down that hill, really pushing the pace, trying to catch up.
I was sitting there waiting for Christian Blumenfeld to come through. Watch this, every time he sort of drifts back, I'm like, where's Christian? He's going to be moving to the front. He's always aggressive, and there he is, the one leading the charge in the pursuit of Vincent Lewis.
Freelance has found the going tough on the run. He's just ahead of Misselchuk. And well done to Vasco Vilaça, who was in about 11th or 12th position, but's moved himself up into 7th position, the Portuguese. But at the front, though, it's 14 minutes in, and Vincent Lewis is doing exactly what he did here last year, and the crowd are enjoying every minute. Blumenfeld ahead of Van Riel, and then who is that behind Van Riel? Leo Bergier, then Mario Mola, the three-time world champion, then Vilaça. So he is in some exalted company Vasco Balasa, there's no doubt about that.
That's a massive group of talent right there. Huge group. Martin Van Riel, who we saw come onto the circuit last year in Mallorca. He's done amazing things. Matty Sharp and Ollie Turner, the favourite.
So Turner...
And Tyler Mislachok has drifted right back.
He has indeed. There he is ahead of Igor Poliansky, 3 to last, and then behind them Pierre Lecour, the Frenchman. But Turner, I can see his running style has changed a lot. He's done a lot of work on his core. He had a bit of the snake running style last year. He didn't have a stronger core as some of the other athletes, but he's done a lot of work on that, and it certainly seems to be paying off. He's sitting in 8th position, 20 seconds back. Big gap back to Lecour, though, is having a very lonely race. One of our qualifiers also having a lonely race, this man. 10 seconds clear of Blumenfeld, Van Riel, Berger, Mola, Velasa, Sharp and Turner. Mislachuk 9th and controlling everything.
Yeah, I think he's just doing enough just to stay 10 seconds ahead. You can see that he keeps looking when he comes around the turnarounds, just to make sure that he's staying in position. And yeah, just doing enough, not overexerting himself, keeping some energy for tomorrow. And Blumenfeld is actually just trying to gap Mola.
In a shootout last week, Mario Mola actually defeated Vincent Lewis in one of those French Grand Prix. A completely different looking circuit to this, a lot more open and wide in Le Boule. And it's the closest we've seen Mario Mola to a front of a race here in Jersey. He doesn't seem to like the cold. He struggled last year in the conditions here. He struggled on this course, and it's good to see him in the semi-final right up near the front.
Josh Lewis right on the bubble at the back of this field. He's about 1:10 back, so he'll be looking at elimination soon if he doesn't get a move on. It's kind of a good course for someone who's leading like this or wants to maintain a lead. There's 3 dead turns spaced pretty much evenly around the course, so you can always keep an eye and monitor your competition. One at the end of the transition, one at the roundabout, and one up near the fan zone.
Yeah, when we looked at this course and we designed and added that extra dog, we were actually thinking of Henry, to be quite honest with you. The smaller,
which we always are.
We are, but we thought with the big swim, with the blue jersey, you're going to come off. You had Vincent Lewis, who's going to match you in the swim at many times, but that ability to get away and use your bike skills to open up those gaps is what we're trying to hope to create with these tight, quick courses. Big run by Christian Blumenfeld.
He only knows one way to do things, and that is with that pain face on. There's no doubt about that. Mola is behind him. Van Riel there or thereabouts too.
It'll be interesting to see if Van Riel is going to try and bridge the gap to Lewis. Maybe drop Christian Blumenfeld, Mario Mola, get them off his feet.
Berger there as well, and Balasa by himself in 6th position. There's some quality athletes though in that top 5.
Tyler back there with Poliansky.
Everything has to go into the athlete's box except for the runners. For the second run, they can be outside the box if indeed they have 1 pair of runners. Some of them carry 2 pairs of runners. Poliansky, Turner, Lecour has done his best to catch up, and Freelance is going to need a very, very good swim. But into the water goes Vincent Lewis, our reigning champion and in control of this semi-final. Still a good 10 seconds, isn't it? Maybe more.
Yeah, this is definitely like one of the most difficult parts of the course. All the blood is in your legs from cycling and running, and now all of a sudden you jump into this cold water, trying to move your arms. Sometimes you cramp. It's just such a difficult feeling to feel that water. So the weaker swimmers will really struggle. You'll see them drop back, and this is where Martin van Riel can really move around and maybe try and close a gap to Lewis in front of him.
I spoke to him at breakfast this morning, Martin Van Riel, and I said, how do you cope in these kind of conditions? He's like, I've been trying really hard to put on a little bit more muscle, a little bit more bulk. And then I looked at his arms and I was like, well, where did you start?
I was going to say, he's a small guy.
He's a tiny guy. Oh, and unfortunately for Josh Lewis, he was close to, he was 1:15 through the last one. But Josh Lewis from Guernsey has been eliminated. He was in the corporate race last year and he's found the step up. Yeah. Quite a big one. It was fair enough.
The Battle of the Islands here was bigger than the Vincent Lewis and all the athletes coming. This Battle of the Islands between Ollie Turner and Josh Lewis was front page news here.
It absolutely was, and he's a former swimmer. He only started triathlon in 2016, did Josh Lewis, and then went to the National Performance Centre in Cardiff with Ollie, and then went to the Commonwealth Games. So it's been an amazing couple of years for Josh Lewis, but he's found the going a bit tough here.
Yeah, he's swimming really comfortable. He's not even kicking. He's probably just trying to recover. I know from when I was racing, I use the swim to recover sometimes, and maybe he's just thinking about that as well. Maybe waiting for someone to catch up and work with someone in the rest of the race.
Imagine using the swim to recover, Macca.
I used to drown in the swim.
That is absolutely foreign.
Martin van Riel is really making his move right now. He's gapping the Christian Blumenfeld behind him. And if he works a little bit harder, maybe he can bridge that gap to Lewis.
Just everything Christian Blumenfeld does just looks flat out. He swings the arms over. He's got a high rating. He runs with his grimaced face. He's just passion personified in his racing tactics and his racing look.
He wouldn't slow down to open a door handle. He just runs straight through the door. That would be quicker, wouldn't it? That would be faster. Does everything at 110%. He's going to need to give all of that. He does look comfortable, though, Vincent Lewis. I don't think there's a point during Super League racing so far where he hasn't looked comfortable.
You had him under pressure here last year, I will say, Henry, on that in this enduro format. And I remember in that last race of the enduro format in the final we're going to see tomorrow with the eliminations happening at the back, Richard Murray rode across to you guys, but at one point there I actually thought Vincent Lewis looked vulnerable and you guys were gone, but he just has this uncanny ability to measure his effort and close gaps when he needs to.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he's not a world champion for no reason. Yeah. He's a very talented athlete. And yeah, he's going to be there no matter what. I mean, you can throw anything at him, flat tire in Singapore. He still manages to come out with that 4th position overall. So, I mean, he's always going to be there no matter what happens. And right now, he's just in cruise control in front of the race.
And as you call, Martin van Riel has separated himself from that second group. And if you can have a quick transition and maybe Vincent wants some company, maybe he doesn't, allow them to jump off and escape, the two of them. Yeah,
it will be good if Lewis can maybe just look over his shoulder and see what's happening. They are training partners, so maybe he might just decide to cycle with them, but we'll see what happens.
Ollie Turner's moved down into 11th position. He's starting to lose a little bit of time to people like Friedlands, Poliansky and Sharp. But as Vincent Lewis comes back into transition, we'll check in again with Joe and Jody.
Yeah, but it seems that this group have broken away. We've been a little bit on island watch down here. Obviously, Josh Lewis has been eliminated, but Ollie Turner, he seems to be pulling back, but did he go out a bit too fast?
He had an amazing swim bike run first leg, and he had to put it all in the gamble. He had to try and do it. He's got to go for the fastest split now. He's got to try and get some more places up, though. He's got to hang on, otherwise he's going to get eliminated and not through to tomorrow.
And out of the front pack chasing Vincent Louis, who do you think looks like they might be in with a chance of perhaps closing that gap?
To be honest, Mario Mola's doing an awesome job. This is not his best format. He doesn't really like this, but he's doing a great job and he's up there. And, you know, he's got a great run leg on him, so it'll be interesting to see how he goes.
Certainly a fast race. Back to you guys.
Thanks, guys.
Pierre Lecour has really moved up after that swim.
Yeah, he has.
Yeah, he really has.
I'll tell you who in terms of contracted athletes, is struggling. Now, the 2 Canadians still, Muselchuk and Sharp, both have been good in this format before, but both look, especially I saw Matt Sharp's face there as he went through. He's in 7th position. He looks like he's almost burned all his matches, but we'll see. We'll keep a look at the 2 Canadians there, but Valasa is impressing me still where he is. Let's hope he can make it through. That's Michael Arashida coming out of the water. As we move into the second bike, and it's 6 seconds now, so this time 1 triathlon ago it was 10 seconds and now it's down to 6. So Van Riel is all by himself and a good 10 seconds ahead of Blumenfeld and Bergier and Mola. So you'd have to say they're probably your top 5 barring incident, as we are back to Lecour, who has moved from about 12th to 6th, so he's starting to come into his own a little bit. Sharp and Valasa.
Looks like Lewis is not waiting for anyone. He's making Van Riel work really hard. I think he really wants to have that short shoot advantage tomorrow, so he's not giving anything up to chance.
That was Arashida in transition. I don't think he's going to get out of transition. I think he's going to be eliminated, which is unfortunate for the American.
Van Riel really handled the bike very well. He's a small guy. He's from Belgium, I guess a biking nation, and he seems to be in the pursuit of Vincent Lewis.
Yeah, he's not scared to go on a breakaway or go solo. So, I mean, I think he's in his element right now. I think he will catch up to Lewis, and I think we can get a really nice run battle, but I think Lewis might just have one on him.
Yeah, he looks like he's putting a lot of effort in to catch up, whereas Vince has been maintaining throughout the last 3 or 4 legs. Blumenfeld leading this group of 3. The 3 of them together have such an impressive resume. But they're all chasing this man. And I think it was 6 seconds. It's come down a fair bit from that as they come around the roundabout for the second time.
Yeah, he had a look over his shoulder there. I think he's probably thinking in his mind, he's probably going to catch. Maybe I'll just ease off the gas just a little bit, be a little bit more safe. Or, yeah, he's still fiddling with his shoes, trying to get comfortable.
It's one of those things, if you're Martin Van Riel, you're sitting back there, you see the guy in front of you, and it's just a tendency to want to close that gap. And you probably should monitor your effort a little bit more, but you just want to close in and get a rest on that wheel. So
Races are races,
a race is a race.
Yeah,
Because
exactly.
Vincent's probably thinking, oh, look, I'll try and get to as easy as possible. And Martin's thinking, I want to close this gap.
But he's got to look at the run and go, do I, considering what effort I'm putting in now, is it all going to be wasted in the fact that Vince is probably going to have a lot more to give to me at the end? And we know that, and you've been on the end of it a few times, he's got this kick in the last 400 metres, which is almost unbeatable.
Yeah, I mean, I think Martin is actually doing a very good race right here. I mean, you don't want to just give it to Lewis in open arms. So, I mean, he's really racing aggressive, trying to catch up. And yeah, you never know. Maybe anything can happen on the run.
Anything can happen on the run. We know that Super League has delivered some bizarre scenarios in the past, but full credit to Martin Van Riel.
He's on the back.
He only had 1 round of Super League last year, finished 4th in that round, but he's back in. He's going to be, across the season, a feature. He confirmed to me this morning he's not going to miss one. And, well, he's already pretty much got his Olympic spot assured, being from Belgium. There's 2 guys who are kind of, got the results in the bank. So
It looks like the top automatic qualifiers will come from this group here.
There's no one going to run into that group. There's too much running power right there.
Exactly.
what do they do, though, these guys now? Do they decide to just head home without spending too much energy? Or, I mean, I can't imagine Christian Blumenfeld doesn't look at Mario Moller and go, I'm going to beat you, no matter what.
I think Christian
For no reason.
Blumenfeld still looks up the road at Vincent Lewis. I'm half a chance. His attitude's amazing. What is on offer right now, and I was just thinking, Martin Van Riel's putting a lot of effort. It's this bike jersey. The fastest bikes per today gets a jersey. There's $10,000 up for grabs at the end of the season. It's a jersey worth wearing and going after. And Martin's bike ride, then he's closed 6 seconds in 2 laps. You've got Vincent Lewis off the front who rides these lines very, very well. He could grab himself a bike jersey.
He could mess it up if they start being really tactical now. They'll lose their gap that they got over the group behind them. And then, yes, with the green points jersey, he would really want to keep that pace up right now.
Yeah.
It would be good if Martin Van Riel can come in front. Although he did spend a lot of work trying to catch up, but it seems like Vincent is now pushing a little bit harder.
And this is where the wind comes across. The wind's coming straight across off the marina there, and it says that this is where I was with Vincent, and he was saying these barricade covers, the material ones, allowed the wind to come through, so he was going to hug it very, very wide in that section, which is exactly what he did.
Does Vince push a little bit harder here to make sure that there's no chance for Van Riel to collect himself a little bit before this run, now that he's spent to catch up? You need to make sure that Van Riel has to keep pushing to stay there.
I think he was hoping that Van Riel was going to come in front and maybe help him out a little bit so that he can just have a little bit of a breather. Yeah, there we go. He's been out in front the entire race so far, so that will catch up with you just a little bit. And I think he's being smart now. He let Van Riel go in front of him, and he's probably thinking about that sprint home at the end of the run.
These guys look like they've switched off a little bit. They're going to let those 2 go up the road.
Yeah, I think they've already decided that the winner is going to come from the front 2, so they just kind of in cruise mode, making sure that they make that top 5.
Yeah, they lost 2 seconds in that lap to the leaders, so they haven't sat up, but they're just. I mean, these 2 obviously are not going as quick as they were early doors either. So 23 seconds the gap, and
yeah, Vincent Louis, I think, is just going to be looking at Van Riel right until the transition, maybe make a move on him, dismounting his bike.
the 2 of them through transition, nothing between them. Van Riel now in front on the last of 4 laps. We've got 1 run home, 1.6 kilometres, 2 laps of the 800-metre course. Vincent Lewis holds the fastest run around here with an average 2:57 pace. And some guy who's slow with a 2:59 pace called Schoomman is second.
He's got nothing.
Yeah.
He's got nothing.
No, he used to be good, though, as I recall. This is 2019, though, now. The new day.
No, it's great, right? And these two train together. They'd be very, very comfortable in each other's company. They're friends. They spend all year together. They've had great seasons between them. And
yeah, there we go. Lewis just came in front now, making sure he comes into that transition
well,
first.
it matters. he's remarkable.
Off the bike they get. Van Riel was top 10 in his splits in Mallorca for the run, but Lewis is our best runner. In fact, he had the top split from 4 of 6 stages in Jersey in 2018. In fact, of the 23 total runs in 2018 in Super League, Vincent Lewis set the fastest time in 12 of them, and he missed 2 because he had a puncture. And when he's made it to the last run of the day, as he's done now, he's finished with the fastest split 6 of 7 times. And the other time he finished second.
It's not bad.
So he gets better as the days and weeks and stages go on. There are some immensely qualified athletes in 3rd, 4th and 5th in Bergier, who's had a great transition there and comes out ahead of Mola and Blumenfeld.
Well, the pressure's not off completely. You can see this group with Matt Sharp, Vasco and Pierre Lecour, even Ollie Turner and Tyler Misselchuk. So I wouldn't say that the qualifiers would come from that 3rd group behind Louis and Van Riel. I think there's still a good race on our hands here.
Well, these guys are racing for time as well, right? So there's the 5 up the time. You've got the 5 fastest times after that are going to get through to the final. So they need to continually push and stay as close to that 5th position as they can.
Yeah, Louis is already putting the pressure on very early on. I think Van Riel kind of accepted it. But maybe he comes into his stride later on.
It's a short shoot. It's thinking of the short shoot. I think
exactly right.
Martin's has cooked it on the bike, but said, okay, look, there's no use playing. I'm going to sit here, take second, cover that.
Yeah, Lewis is not taking any chances. He's not even waiting for the sprint at the end. He's just breaking him in the beginning. So
it's a British protectorate is Jersey, but it is all about France today. We're only 5 miles off the coast. Normandy, the closest across the water. And Cassandra Beaugrand quickest overall in the women's 2 semi-finals. And Vincent Lewis will set a blistering pace in this one. It looks like he's going to win his semi-final, and it'll take a big, big effort in semi-final B to best him. He's already put in about 40 metres on Van Riel after they come out of the bike. He's got a very, very good run. Vincent Lewis. I
think Martin Van Riel just went a little bit into the red, trying to catch up on that bike, and he's really feeling it now on that run.
Well, he's just about got 2nd place wrapped up. He's 28 seconds clear of Mola, Blumenfeld and Bergier, who are a further 20 seconds ahead of Lecour, Velasa, Sharp, Turner, Mislachuk, Polyansky and Friedelance, who has fallen foul of the 90-second mark there. There are our 2 leaders. And it's just about a victory lap for Vincent Lewis. Could be 2018, looking at that exact shot. Except in 2018, at least on Saturday, we were right behind him. Let's not forget that.
That was a great race. A great race.
Yeah, I think the course here in Jersey really suits the well-balanced, all-rounded athlete. And Vincent Louis obviously has all of that. He's a great swimmer, he's a great biker, he's a great runner. And yeah, I mean, if you have a weakness, it's going to show. And it's really good to see Mario Mola pushing off ahead of Christian Blumenfeld. I mean, he's not known for being a strong swimmer, but he's right up here in the mix, in the front.
It's the first time I've ever seen Christian Blumenfeld comfortable sitting on someone's shoulder.
Yeah, me too. I saw his face.
Like, wow,
where's the pain face?
Yeah, he said, look, I'm through to the final tomorrow. I'll just sit off, a world champion shoulder, as you do.
Great work from our young athlete in the white jersey, Vasco Velasa, who is hanging in with Pierre Lecour and ahead of Matt Sharp, one of our contracted athletes, and Tyler Mislachuk as well.
Yeah, Vincent Louis is probably thinking about the race tomorrow already. He's already turned off the gas. He's pumping up the crowd. The crowd is electric out there. I was out there earlier. It's amazing.
It looks like a transition crowd, but it's at the back end of the course.
Yeah.
And that's fantastic. We're bringing the fan zone in, and fans lining both sides here for a little bit of a victory 500 metres for Vincent Lewis. There aren't enough superlatives to describe how this guy has come onto the scene. There were, I guess, maybe 12 or 18 months ago, we started talking about him in a Super League sense as Sylvain Friedelance sees the yellow flag. And we talked about maybe whether he had the consistency or the willpower to at least win on the WTS. And then this year he's come out, he's been in the top 6 every time. He needed to finish 5th in Lausanne. He did that and won the World Championships. He's put any of those ideas to bed. He's now, not only he's the quickest, he's got everything. He's got all the things that his arsenal that he needs, and he's got the consistency to deliver week in, week out.
Well, he won those 2 grand finals every year. He used to come out every year and take on that grand final and win it. And in the old days, that used to be the World Championships. You know, you had to win that last event. He did that twice. And this year he showed his consistency. There was always a question mark over that consistency, and he's the current world champion. He's remarkable all the way through Super League Series last year, racing New Henry, and now through that WTS Series as your 2019 world champion going into the Tokyo Olympics.
He's just waved to the crowd for the whole way round here.
He did a victory lap.
Yeah, he knows exactly how to do it. He's winning fans every time he comes out here. He goes all the way around the bottom end of the crowd.
A little longer.
Look at this.
A little longer the run, why not?
Oh, why not? He has been fantastic in this one, and this will send shockwaves throughout semi-final B, let alone the rest of the quality athletes who finished behind him in this one. But he jogs it in. Van Riel behind him, also very happy to get through. Congratulations to Vincent Lewis, who is our semi-final A winner here from Martin Van Riel, who has been unreal. Blumenfeld, of course, he had to win in that little pack. He found enough in the end from Mola and Leo Bergier. So 2 Frenchmen through, just as there was in semi-final A in the women's, with Sandra Daudet and Cassandra Beaugrand, and Pierre Lacour knows that he's on the bubble, so he is putting it in. Vasco Viaca as well.
You realise just to hit that finish straight up. Hang on a sec.
Hang on, I've got to keep going.
Times.
And Velasa comes in
Matty Sharp
at velocity, Sharp too.
Smart racing, Matt.
Setting these times and hoping that they are going to be enough. And Mislachuk will have to have a lot go his way if indeed he is going to make it through at 48 seconds back. So he's at 36.51. But 36.03 is a very fast time. Polyansky coming in 10th position. And Ollie Turner, who it doesn't look like we're going to see. In fact, we definitely are going to see on Sunday in 11th position, Ollie Turner. But congratulations to him. His first swing block run was outstanding, but he just didn't quite have enough. And